Good afternoon, everyone. Today's video, I wanted to discuss, are Teslas nearly unserviceable, or are they basically impossible to get parts for and impossible to find a service center to work on them? I want to share my own personal experience on this. Now, because my car has actually been run into twice since owning it. Thank God neither issue was my fault, therefore it was the other person's insurance taking care of it. But this comes on the heels of, I just watched the Fast Lane car in their Thrifty 3 series, where they were bemoaning the repairs needed for their Model 3. Now, they have a good point. They've been over 2 months now in going through this ordeal. So they were talking about how unacceptable it is for any auto manufacturer to make people wait that long and everything. And I get it, and I agree with them. But I want to share with you my personal experience in having my Model 3 repaired, as well as other auto service issues that I've had over the years. So I drive about 40,000 miles a year for business, and then another roughly 10,000 miles per year for personal. So that's 50,000 miles a year. And I'm 47 years old, so I've been driving for 31 years. And in that 31 years, and I've always driven that many miles. When I was a teenager, I was delivering pizzas. I did that for a number of years, and then I delivered pizzas basically right up to the point where I started doing service work. So I've always driven huge miles. I don't think I've ever had a year with less than 20,000 miles driven. So let's call it 40,000 miles a year between business and personal on average for let's say 30 years of driving. That's 1.2 million miles of driving. And it's in that length of time, you're bound to have mishaps. And I've had my share of mishaps. I had one accident that was my fault directly. And I was broadsided. I pulled out. I looked to the blind side, then looked to the clear side, and didn't look back to the blind side. You should always look to the blind side of the road you're crossing last. And I didn't, and I got T-boned. It was my own fault. And then I've been rear-ended a ton. I just, for whatever reason, I keep getting rear-ended, and it's almost always the same situation. Parked at a stoplight, waiting, and then I get slammed into. It's happened to me a bunch of times. Well, my experience in auto body shops and repair, I've had numerous, I think 4 different body shops that have fixed the probably 6 fender benders or accidents that I've had over the years. Again, one was my fault, the other 5 were caused by other people. And all of them took a long period of time, all of them. And in fact, my Tesla repair was the least time consuming of all of them. My Tesla repair was 9 days, and the only reason it took that long had nothing to do with Tesla, and they did have to order some parts, but it had everything to do with the insurance company of the lady that hit me was dragging their heels, and that delayed 3 or 4 days. And so it was initially supposed to go in on Monday, and I was going to get it back on Friday, but instead it took through most of the next following week after that for me to get the car back. That was the fastest repair, and that was dealing with Tesla to get trim and different things and all that. And so that was the shortest repair. The most time-consuming repair I ever had was a Saturn, 94 Saturn SL2, and that car took 4 months to get repaired. And let's see here, my Ford C-Max Hybrid, that car took 2 months to have repaired. I got rear-ended. That needed a quarter panel, as well as some sheet metal straightening of the substructure where the tailgate closed against, and then it needed a new tailgate as well. None of the glass, but taillight, left rear fender, tailgate, and some sheet metal straightening and paint. And that took a solid 2 months to get done. And then I've had numerous other repairs that have always been in the, say, month and a half-ish range. So, and some of you out there may think that that's ridiculous, but it's multiple repair shops. It's not one shop. Multiple different car brands over multiple decades of duration. So this is not one repair shop or one brand or whatever. This has been my experience overall. My Tesla has been the easiest car to get repaired. And the body shop told me this was probably the easiest car they've had to work on. They said it's like a Lego set. It's built very logically and very easy to disassemble and reassemble. Now, I think a lot of the issues that people are having getting Teslas repaired are, number one, if it's a Model S or X, because they're aluminum. Now, with the advent of the aluminum Ford F-150, more and more shops are doing aluminum work, but it's still harder work to do and more expensive. And those cars are much more high-tech, and so there are more complicated systems that are used in those vehicles than there is in a Model 3. I think that's part of that issue. And then as far as Model 3s go, again, I haven't had any problems getting mine fixed, and it was in the shop twice, once for front-end damage, once for rear-end damage. And, it wasn't a big deal for either, for me, anyway. So this isn't a one-time event. This was two separate occurrences. Now, it was the same shop I dealt with, which is the shop I mention all the time in my videos, Custom Classics. They don't sponsor me in any way. They just happen to be a shop down the road from me. And I know the owner, so I go there. But they did a very good job. They said Tesla was easy to deal with. It was easy to get parts. They said it was harder dealing with the insurance company. So I think with the fast lane car, I think in their instance, for one thing, they said Tesla shipped them the wrong piece of glass. Well, that was the part shipper's fault. That wasn't Tesla's fault. It's not that Tesla wasn't making glass. Number two, their repair shop broke the glass, which happens. I get it, but still, that's they can't blame Tesla as a manufacturer on that. That was the shipper. Well, that was the body shop's fault for breaking the glass. The shipper's fault for shipping them. They shipped a front windshield instead of the back window or whatever. So also, they've made comments like the body shop they brought it to, it took them 2 weeks to get back to them and say that it's going to take a while to get the parts or whatever. I get the impression the body shop they use, just watch their videos. I'm not bashing the shop. I'm just saying, you watch the videos and I'm getting the impression that the body shop they're using, maybe they're very, very busy because they're a very good shop or something, I don't know. But I get the impression that that body shop is not very quick on the ball either, and they're taking a lot of time. And it seems as though all of the complaints are being rested on Tesla's shoulders. Now, that being said, I can say that when I had my car fixed, there was one part that took 3 weeks to get. It was one piece of chrome trim. But it was a decorative piece, so they put the damaged piece of trim back on the car so I could use it. And then when the new piece of trim came in, I brought it in and they put it on. So that could have easily been a part that was harder to get, or that was, necessary for the completion of the work, and that would have kept the car there in the shop, and I get that. But the fact of the matter is, they had my car disassembled and diagnosed the first day. The first day. I brought it there on a Monday morning. By Monday afternoon, they emailed the insurance company saying this is what you need. That was on the one repair. The other repair, I brought it in the end of that day, and by the next morning, they had the car diagnosed and a list to the insurance company. So I get the impression that when you watch the Fast Lane Cars episodes, and don't want to harp on them, I subscribe to their channel. They're great guys. I love them to death. But I get the impression that their repair shop takes 2 weeks to initiate anything. That's what it looks like. Because they brought it in. It took a couple weeks to hear back that it's going to take a while to get parts. The parts come in, and it takes them a couple weeks to tell them, yeah, we broke the glass. Then they order the glass. A couple weeks later, they call them and say, well, they shipped the wrong glass. It seems like their shop takes 2 weeks to initiate anything. And I've seen this in other shops, and I've heard it from other people. And I think some repair shops are scared of Teslas for whatever reason. And they may indeed drag their heels, I don't know. And it is also possible that Tesla could be difficult to get stuff from. But I can tell you from personal experience, it was difficult to get parts for my Saturn. It was difficult to get parts for my Ford. I mean, when you have a repair, it's not like when a water pump goes out in a car, they order a water pump, a belt, and a couple of gaskets. So what, there's 4 parts total at the most. When you have body damage, oh my gosh, it's page after page after page. It's piece of trim, 2 clips, 2 nuts, 2 washers, 2 felt spacers. I mean, it's ridiculous. Then it's the next, that panel with 6 fasteners, 6 retainers, 6 washers, 4 plastic clips, 4 felt washers, I mean, it's nuts. The sheer magnitude of the individual line items when you go down the invoice is just monstrous when you have body damage. So I think that if you're going to order parts for, anytime you have body work that's needed, maybe you needed 62 line items of individual clips and stuff, and 58 of them showed up, and there's 4 left. That's what tends to delay body work. But you're fooling yourself if you think that you have body damage and you bring the car in and it's going to be done in a week. That's not the case. It's always measured in months. This just the way it is. So unless no parts are needed whatsoever. But that's my own take on it. They also said that, the repair shop, it was supposed to be $6,000, which is ridiculous, and now it's going to be $10,000. First off, the repair shop broke the glass, and they're billing for the glass. So that's the repair shop's fault, and I know that happens. But still, that's the repair shop's fault. So that's driving their price up. And I don't know what their list of individual parts are. I know that they hit at the charge port corner, so they probably need the whole charge port, which the charge port and the charge port door are 2 separate parts. And I mean, it gets a little involved with Teslas when you damage that particular corner of the car. But the price does sound excessive to me as well, but I don't think that's excessive because of Tesla. I honestly believe that it has to do with their repair shop. So I'm not just being a Tesla fanboy here. Tesla has their issues. And yes, they are having delivery timing issues. I've talked with people that are trying to get brand new cars, and they're getting the runaround because their car isn't being delivered on time. And Tesla right now, there's a lot of growing pains going on. I get it. But I wanted to give a little bit of a rebuttal to the Fastlane car, because also what it does is it generates a bunch of hate in the comments section. All Teslas suck and they're impossible to get fixed. You can't get parts for them, blah, blah, blah. This has not been my experience with 2 separate repairs. 2 separate repairs and other things like glass shop. I had a nick in my glass roof. They fixed it with the little treatment thing, same as a windshield. And I've had people say, no one will touch a Tesla roof. They'll buy you a new roof. No, they fixed the chip in my roof. I did a video on it. They said, all it is a windshield on the top of your car. We'll fix it. So I don't know if it's just the shops in Northern Illinois are awesome to deal with or what the deal is, but I've had easy time so far anyway. Now I could eat my words. Maybe eventually this will be a problem for me, but in the 2 accidents and then the 1 chip in the glass roof that I've had with this car, always been easy to correct. So having the car aligned was easy. I had the car lowered, putting lowering springs on. The shop said that was easy to do. I mean, it's like everything with this car has been easy so far. And again, I could eat my words later, but I just want to give my personal experience on this. So if you guys have any questions for me, leave a comment in the comment section below. As always, my referral code will be a link in the description below. Thanks a lot, guys. Have yourselves a great day. And, I'm curious to know what your experiences are. And not just have you had a time-consuming repair on a Tesla, but what about other cars? I mean, if you've had an accident or a bodywork repair with one car and a bodywork repair on a Tesla, compare the 2 for me in the comment section. I'm curious. So, anyway, thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye now. I think I'm opening myself up to a lot of hate on this one.